So the systematic development of policies is designed to make sure that even if you outnumber us, you will not have more than us. So we want enough of y'all to go to prison and go to jail so that you can stop reproducing babies, black men, because if you're locked up between 17 and 45, you will miss your reproductive years. Y'all don't understand. I wish y'all could wake up.
Hi, this is Bishop James Dixon at the Community of Faith Church in Houston, Texas, welcoming you to the Empowered by Faith broadcast. So excited to bring to you a message series this week entitled, Are You Woke? I'm telling you, it's going to bless your life. And by the way, thank you for praying with us and for supporting our ministry. The Community of Faith Church empowers people to become visible manifestations of the power of God in the presence of people. You want to check us out every Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. Our live worship is on Facebook. You can watch us this coming Sunday and tell your friends about it because it will certainly change your life. Our church is a church like none other. We make an impact every day in the lives of people in our community. In fact, right after this message, I'll be back with the word, Are You Woke? Watch this. I'll be back in a moment.
These are perilous times for America. The social climate is impacted by racial injustice, a broken criminal justice system that unjustly punishes poor people and people of color. The ongoing story of police brutality against unarmed people has strained relationships between the community and law enforcement. And add to this, the voter suppression movement, where states like Texas are enacting laws that are designed to decrease black and brown voter participation. So, what does the church do in the midst of this kind of social turmoil? Well, the church should be doing what Bishop James Dixon and the Community of Faith is doing. We are leading the fight for justice, equality, and righteousness. I am glad to be a part of a church that doesn't remain silent when unarmed men and women are being killed by police. Everyone knows that Bishop Dixon is God's voice for social justice and for positive changes in our society. Some people talk it, Bishop Dixon walks it. Yes, the Community of Faith keeps proving that it's a battleship church, not a cruise ship. In addition to being an anointed preacher and pastor, Bishop Dixon is a real leader who serves to empower his community. So you see him in Austin at the Capitol, challenging lawmakers to pass laws to combat child sex trafficking. Bishop Dixon is there to fight against voter suppression. You see him standing with other leaders, speaking truth to power in behalf of the less fortunate. I am happy to partner with Bishop Dixon because I know he's not in it for himself. He's dedicated to the hard work of fighting for the people. That's why, my friends, you should partner with James Dixon Ministries. Praying and supporting James Dixon Ministries makes a much needed difference. So go to jamesdixonministries.org to become a partner today. We thank God for your support. And if you're looking for a church, a real church, a battleship church, look no further. You found it. It's the Community of Faith, and we welcome you to your new church family.
Fame and fortune. So many of us are looking for easy ways to get rich. Rich without producing anything. Rich without making anything meaningful happen. You just want the stuff that money can buy, and you want it quickly because you're chasing fame and fortune and status. But that's a distraction. Because the truth of the matter is there is no real wealth without productivity. And many of you are chasing get-rich-quick schemes rather than getting a job to work on and stay on. I probe people often in my casual conversations, and I've been so inspired to learn and meet waitresses who worked in a restaurant for 20 years and bought their own home after 5 and sent their kids to college after 7 and now got a retirement after 20 years and bought land and some investment, while some of y'all are jumping from this to that, this get rich, this scheme, this pyramid, this idea, this notion, and you're chasing something you'll never catch because there's no substitute for hard work. Yes, sir. But you're embarrassed to be a waiter or a waitress. You're embarrassed to wear a uniform because you're too cute to do it. You got to make up your mind. You're not trying to impress people. You're trying to impact your children and your generation. And then there are the distractions of meaningless feuds, F-E-U-D-S, feuds, racial conflict. That's a meaningless feud because it's built on the false premise. Black people against white people against black people, brown people against black people. All that racial feuding is built on ignorance and arrogance. It's ignorance because there is only one race. There is truthfully only one race. Can I help y'all? I'm telling you there's only one race. There's only one race. Racism is built on a false narrative that there are more than one race. Acts 17:26, of one blood God created all people. So since there's only one race, how can one be superior? You're dealing with the creation of a product by a mind that contrived that if I want to be dominant, I got to create something that's inferior to me. And in order to do that, they comprise this construct called race. And racism comes out of a sadistically informed view of a particular group of people who want to exercise supremacy and dominance, but they cannot do it unless they make you lesser than who they are. Racism is really built out of an inbred insecurity that I can't be comfortable with me unless I'm over you. And once we get rid of that myth and that mythological narrative, then we'll stop fighting each other. And watch this. Understand that the ruling class, the oligarchy, the plutonics, they are not bothered about racism. They are using racism to keep us feuding while they dominate the economy. If they can keep those on the lower end, on the lower rungs, fighting against each other, marching against each other, coming against each other, then nobody's paying attention to who's really running the world. It's a distraction. Oh God, I said it is a distraction. Political conflicts, feuding Democrats against the Republicans and the Tea Party against the liberals and the neoliberals versus the neoconservatives and all this feuding and fighting back and forth. That's a distraction while the ruling class continues to occupy the places of power and to control the nations and the world's wealth. Well, I'm going to talk about that more in just a minute. But you do understand that when you get so much money, you ain't bothered about Democrat or Republican. Because it doesn't matter who gets elected, you still rule and stay in power. Because government is at the mercy of those who spend the money. This is corporatism controlling the narrative. It doesn't matter who gets elected. And we're down there fussing and fighting over Dems and Republicans and D's and R's and red states and blue states, but there's an agenda that's bigger than that. But the masses, people who are really in the middle, we all really want the same things. We want peace, harmony, justice, and equity, and safety to protect our children and raise our families in an environment where we are safe and we can be self-determined. That's what most of us want. But we buy into the deceptive narratives that if you succeed, they can't, and if they succeed, you can't. So we fight each other over the crumbs while the others keep the whole lion's share for themselves. Then there are ideological conflicts that deals with religion and other bigger concerns where people ideologically conflict. And we are feuding over ideological conflicts and hating each other over our disagreements. Because we've not learned how to have healthy conversations and to disagree respectfully. We got to tear each other down. And since you don't believe like I believe, then I've got to ruin you. I've got to destroy you. That's not godly, and it's feuding over that which is really a distraction. Kind of preaching I'm doing now is not popular. It's the kind you get in trouble for because most people can't handle it. But while these distractions keep the majority of us preoccupied, there's a ruling class who are above all the fray. They're not Dems or Republicans. They are oligarchs. They understand that we cannot control the economy and the power unless we keep the masses preoccupied so they don't pay attention to us. Are you woke? Are you woke? Are you woke? The statement in 1 Chronicles 12:32, the sons of Issachar, the leaders of Issachar, they understood the times and knew what Israel must do. They paid attention. How do you understand the times and know what you must do? You cannot be drunk on distractions. You got to have clear thinking, a clear head, a clear mind, and you got to concentrate on what really matters. It's interesting that
I hope you've been blessed by this message entitled, Are You Woke? And it's going to wake you up even more when we come back in just a moment. But I want to encourage you to be sure and follow me on social media. All of my handles are right there on the screen. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, because every day there's something out there that's going to inspire you, encourage you, and bless your life. And remember to join us this coming Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. for our live morning worship service on Facebook Live. Just go to the Community of Faith. The music, the ministry of the Word of God, you'll be inspired, you'll be ignited and empowered. And thank you for sharing and for praying, because it takes people like you to partner with a ministry like this to make us even stronger. We thank God for you. Now let's go back to the Word.
The kind of preaching I'm doing now is not popular. It's the kind you get in trouble for, because most people can't handle it. But while these distractions keep the majority of us preoccupied, there's a ruling class who are above all the fray. They're not Dems or Republicans. They are oligarchs. They understand that we cannot control the economy and the power unless we keep the masses preoccupied so they don't pay attention to us. Are you woke? Are you woke? Are you woke? The statement in 1 Chronicles 12:32, the sons of Issachar, the leaders of Issachar, they understood the times and knew what Israel must do. They paid attention. How do you understand the times and know what you must do? You cannot be drunk on distractions. You got to have clear thinking, a clear head, a clear mind, and you got to concentrate on what really matters. It's interesting that this statement is reserved for this one group of people, that amongst the others that were around them, they were the only ones described as the knowing the times. That means that most of the people around that you're in conversation with don't have a clue of what's really going on. Most people are not in tune to the realities that are really driving the truth of the narrative, because most people are reading the wrong print, watching the wrong channel, on the wrong station, talking to the wrong people, and consuming their day and their week, their month and their year with content that has no substance as to what is really happening right around them. Are you woke? While we're distracted by these distractions, here is what we're not noticing or paying attention to. Did you know that 43% of the nation's wealth is controlled by the top 1%? 43% of the nation's wealth controlled by 1% of the people. Are you woke? Do you not understand that this is what drives poverty? Do you not understand that if 43% of the wealth is in the hands of only 1% of the people, and you don't even know who they are, because they are not being flashed on Facebook. They're not being talked about on Instagram. They are not being talked about at the hair salon or in the barber shop. They're not a part of the conversation. You don't even know who they are. 1%. Controlling 43% of the wealth. Are you woke? You ought to research that. See, that's what you ought to research. Who are the 1%? What are their ideologies? What are their beliefs? What do they sponsor? What movements are they behind? Not only whether they make their money, but whether they use their money to do. The 1%. Are you woke? Did you know that President Trump, in only 4 years, has had 198 judges confirmed? 198. That the presidency is not about who's just in the Oval Office for 4 years as a personality. That all the noise and the bickering back and forth is a distraction to keep you from knowing the real narrative. That what's really happened is 198 judges have been appointed. And combined, they make up 2,600 years of leadership for the appointment. Do you understand that? And you talk about voting doesn't matter? We can put 60,000 people in the streets behind George Floyd's death, but we can't get those same people to register to vote? Because you don't understand the distraction. Are you woke? You're not woke. Are you cussing people out and screaming and hollering? You woke when you understand what's happening that's not being printed on the billboard. And how many of the 198 judges that he's appointed are black? Take a guess. 0. Are you woke? The ones he's considering right now to replace Judge Ginsburg, none of them are black. Now, what I'm saying is this. I know no black person would agree to that, would okay that, and most whites would not support that, but we don't know that. That's a message in itself. Because it says, from his perspective, there are no blacks qualified anywhere in the nation for not one appointment. Did you not? Are you woke? Come on, talk back to me. I'm asking a question. Are you woke? Did you not know that when President Obama was in office and we had a vacancy on the court because of the last death, that Obama was 10 months from re-election, and that the Senate refused and they demonized him for even thinking about making the appointment, and it was 10 months before the election. And they said their rationale was, it's too soon for the election. Make the appointment after the new election. Let the next president make the appointment. And they fought him making the appointment and would not even consider it at the Senate. And now we're only 40 days from this election, and this president says, I'll make my appointment next week.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Are you woke? Are you woke? Are you woke? Don't worry about it. Are you woke? Have you studied and understood the impact of predatory capitalism? Do you not understand that predatory capitalism is one of the biggest killers of our future? But have you read about it? Write it down. Predatory capitalism. Understand what that means and how it's impacting your life and your family and your children's future. It refers to the cultural acceptance of domination and exploitation as normal practice. Some examples of that would be corporate and financial fraud, that more often never gets challenged along with political corruption. It's the undermining of trade unions and its wage suppression and control. Don't you remember that in 2008 when billions and billions and billions of dollars were built on Wall Street? Don't you remember that President Obama bailed them out, the big banks? Not the community banks, but the big banks. And somebody said, why would President Obama bail out the big banks when the Wall Street execs stole the money, embezzled the money, manipulated markets through insider trading, billions of dollars, and nobody went to jail? Under Obama's watch. Predatory capitalism. Bad mortgage loans that cost millions and millions of Americans their houses through foreclosure. And nobody bailed out the folk who lost their houses. But we bailed out big banks and we bailed out the auto industry, and when they stole money, nobody went to jail. Zero. Why? Because predatory capitalism is controlled by the oligarchs who say who will and who won't prosper, who will be called a criminal versus who would have just simply made a mistake. And at the time, we had a black president and a black secretary general. Listen, Attorney General, Eric Holder. But nobody went to jail. But let a black boy down the street from here get caught in the store stealing a six-pack of beer, he could end up in prison for 10 years.
Speak on that, Bishop. Yes, sir. Speak on that, sir. My God, speak on that. Yes, sir.
And the front page would put the black face on any crime, no matter how small. But you don't know the faces of those white Wall Street executives that built the country out of billions of dollars. Wow. You don't even know their names. Yeah. That's predatory capitalism. Are you woke? Are you woke? See, we can't let our people off when we're participating. Are you woke? It's undermining trade unions and wage suppression. It's why the minimum wage is still not a livable wage. Because predatory capitalism banks on certain numbers of people being poor. It's why Wall Street, though is one of the richest companies in the world, their employees still have to file for government assistance. Y'all won't say amen, because you like Walmart.
Yes, sir.
How can you work for the richest company in the world and have to file for government support and assistance?
That's true.
Are you woke?
Yes, sir.
I said, are you woke? It's why the working poor is one of the biggest problems of our time. The working poor. Because you can work as hard as you can work and still live under the poverty line. It's why 1 out of 2 minority children born in America are born into poverty. Are you woke? So you got parents having to dig their way out of poverty. And the hole is so steep that frustration and stress causes health issues, strokes and heart attacks.
Right.
Because you're constantly working and grinding and can see no progress, no light at the end of a tunnel.
Yeah.
Are you woke? It's the promulgation of economic slavery and its wealth creation through strategically imposing debt on vulnerable entities and vulnerable people. Debt and indebtedness is by design. Because if you made enough money, you wouldn't have to buy stuff on credit. So they keep paying you low wages So in order to make it and survive, you've got to do it by credit, which means now you're paying those who control the market. And the interest rates are higher when you're poor. The interest are higher when you're black. Because they know you got to misperform. They know you got to choose to pay.
We sincerely hope you're enjoying the ministry of Bishop James Dixon. We also hope you appreciate the work we're doing to impact our community and the world. To keep up with Dr. Dixon and all we do, follow Bishop Dixon on all social media. Subscribe to his YouTube at Bishop James Dixon. Follow Bishop D on Facebook and Instagram. Stay connected and you'll be amazed at what we're doing to impact the world for Jesus. Stay connected and stay empowered by faith.
I hope the message of prophetic call to justice has blessed you this week. And it's an honor to share these messages directly with you because the Community of Faith is a battleship church. I am a prophetic teacher and preacher. And yes, God is prophetically calling us to justice. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for praying for us and thank you for supporting. You can do that today, of course, financially. Text the word GIVE to the number that's on your screen and you can make a donation right now or do it through our website. It takes people like you who are really believers in the power of God's word to keep a ministry like this on the air. So thank you for sharing. And don't forget to tell your friends and neighbors about it and join us next week for another empowering word through Empowered by Faith.
We thank you for tuning in today. We're certain this end time message has been relatable, resourceful, and is refueling you to want to make changes in order to be a change agent for yourself, your family, your community, state, and yes, this nation. This is not it. There's more. To receive this message in its entirety, simply go to thecommunityoffaith.org, click on the e-giving prompt. Here you'll click on the donation button and you'll find this message available as an MP3 or MP4. Or you may purchase by text, texting the word GIVE, that's G-I-V-E, to 713-338-9011. Select this message and format preferences. Both are secure ways to obtain this message today.
Empowered by faith, nothing is impossible. Empowered by faith, my dreams are unstoppable. Believing, achieving, destined to win by God's grace. I am empowered by faith. I am empowered by faith.
Empowered by faith.
Empowered by faith,
Nothing is impossible. Empowered.
Empowered by faith, my dreams are
You got to believe your dreams are unstoppable.
unstoppable.